What comes to your mind when you think of steaming white rice, a banana leaf, some adobo, and salted egg? You'll probably think of binalot, a Filipino delicacy that has been branded by a chain 20 years old now, and they have 36 branches and one even overseas. Much more to come. We're gonna hear the story of the guy behind it, Rommel Juan, and the money lessons we can glean from it. I'm Edric Mendoza on The Money Starts Now. In your growing years, give us a glimpse of what that was like and what sort of lessons you already learned when it came to entrepreneurship and even handling money as a whole.
I come from a very entrepreneurial family, you know. So, like during dinner time, we talk about business in the dinner table. It's not a taboo. It's not like in other families, you know. Oh, 5 o'clock, no more work. You know, we just talk about other things. But with us, I grew up. My dad had a manufacturing business. He sold Jeeps, exported to the U.S. And my mom had a school. So during dinner time, they'd talk about the business. You know, they talk about the challenges. They talk about what they were busy with that day. But you know, it never seemed like a big problem to us. They'd always discuss the problems, but there'll always be solutions. You know, how they overcame those challenges. So growing up, to me, I thought of business as being fun. You know, it's not really work. You know, because I saw my dad having fun, I saw my mom having fun. I mean, they control their own time. You know, so that's why I guess all of us, my siblings and I, we got into business. It was automatic for all of us after graduation to put up our own business. Right.
Did they ever force you to say, oh, Rommel, go to the school, do this, or Rommel, go to the manufacturing plant? Do you have any memories like that?
Yeah, they did that during summer. Summertime, because like during summer we didn't get an allowance because they said, okay, you're not going to school anyway, so we don't need to give you money. You know, you get food at home. You know? So anyway, my dad said, so you guys have to be busy. So my brother and I, we used to paint old chairs and tables in my mom's school. So we would sandpaper it and then paint it, you know, and we'd get money for that. When my dad had constructions, you know, I would pick up the used nails, you know, and straighten them up and sell them back to my dad. I used to sell a lot of stickers, and my dad would always be encouraging. You know? So one time he came from Taiwan, I remember, and then he gave me a toy. You know, it's a toy spider that when you throw it on a shiny wall, it would crawl down.
I remember that.
You remember
toy.
that?
Oh my goodness! Yeah.
So anyway, he gave me 10.
Right.
I was like, Dad, thanks. He gave me 10. He said, hey, only one is yours. The rest you sell. Okay. So I was like, so how do I do it? He said, you know, the one that's yours, use that as your demo. So when I'd go to school, you know, during recess, I'd find a shiny wall in front of everybody, and I'd throw it in the wall, and then everyone's like, hey, it's like a real spider.
There's your guerrilla marketing.
And that's my demo, that's my guerrilla marketing, and that's how I sold all of it. So,
I see.
So it was, I think, encouragement for from our family, and really the exposure that I had was what helped us really get into business.
Right. And those days when they asked you to go to the shops and do the nail fixing and all, even if you were an artist, you're saying you never resented that?
No, it's better than doing nothing. No? So we've always wanted to be productive all the time naman. So even in college, because I studied in LaSalle, and our office is like a few blocks away. So I'd park in the office and I'd go to school, and then during breaks I'd go to the office because my dad was there, and he was exposing us early on, really. So he's not really a classroom kind of guy, you know. So he'd bring you, and then he'd let you observe during meetings and things like that. You know? So, you know, I'd remember I was like maybe 12, but I was with him talking to like bank presidents, you know, and I was just there, you know, observing, you know, the dynamics of it, you know, which helped me, of course, when
So Rommel, would you say that your father has been the greatest influence in your life when it comes to learning about business and money?
When it comes to business, yes.
Tell me, so far in those growing years, what would you say is the one biggest lesson you got?
When I started Binalot, you know, the growth was really fast, no? And I think it reached a point where we grew too fast. So and then I guess our support structure wasn't enough already to support our franchisees, and that's when we had financial problems. That's when, of course, I went to my dad again, and then he advised me, you know, you have to control your expenses. You know, he'd always say, and just yesterday he said it again. You know,
it sounds simple, no?
Yeah, it's simple.
Yeah.
You know, you should not, you know, you should never spend more than what you earn. You know? So it's a basic thing with business as well. So that's when we reeled everything in, and then we closed the stores that were not performing very well, and then we took out the fat in the organization, and we just really made it lean. With that, we readjusted, and that's when we started growing again.
Okay.
So that was like, I'd say, because we're entering 20 years for Binalot already next year. In business, I learned that the first year is always the hardest. No? But if you survive 3 years, so medyo steady ka na. If you survive 7 years, oh, that's you're medyo mature na.
The idea behind Binalot, which is using banana leaves as wrappers for food, has captivated many Filipinos as it brings traditional fare to everyday food. And for Binalot founder and CEO Rommel Juan, what it brings back are old childhood memories of him and his family having a picnic in their farm in Cavite, eating adobo wrapped in banana leaves. Juan and his team started in a small condo in Makati before opening up their first branch in 1996. With his passion, a dedicated team, and financial aid from his father, he was able to create what Binalot is today, a no-frills restaurant that serves all-time Filipino favorites.
We started cooking adobo, you know, and we would just sell to the neighbors, you know. And what I did was we started with flyers. We just gave flyers around the building, because you can't give it far, because you can't deliver it that
Correct.
far, you know, because we only had foot soldiers.
Yeah, yourselves. Yeah.
Ourselves, well, I took the calls, and you know, we wrapped the food, but we had foot soldiers who delivered it. No? So that's how we started. So it started as a delivery business. When the condo building started to smell like adobo and the neighbors were complaining, so we had to leave. So our very first commercial area was in Jupiter Street in Makati. We got a 20 square meter place there. And it's funny because I got 5 investors, and we put 10,000 each. 10,000 pesos, so 50,000.
Initial capital.
Initial capital,
okay.
no?
50
and
grand.
50 grand. And so we got that 20 square meter place, and I invested like most of the money in a big signage, and we painted the walls. I didn't have enough money to renovate the inside of the place anymore. So we just made, what we did, we made the windows dark. So when somebody order, we just open, yes sir, can we get your order? Because he didn't want them to see the back
operation.
Because the back operation was really not nice. No? And then we invested in motorcycles. That's when, this was I guess about 97, about mid 97.
About a year after you experimented,
Yeah, so we started investing in motorcycles to deliver, but it was COD. COD means care of daddy. So I borrowed money from my dad again. I borrowed that money, but my dad said, okay, but you have to pay interest and give me PDCs.
Yes.
So I was able to pay him naman, no? But that's when we invested. I think we invested in 6 motorcycles, so we can deliver farther than the village now. So we got to deliver in the rest of Makati, the CBD, the Central Business District. And basically, it's funny because when we that time. There was a popular magazine that was being given away. It's called Delivery.ph. No, not even Delivery Pages.
Delivery Pages.
And Delivery Pages called us the darling of the delivery industry that time, because we were delivering about 500 meals a day.
What was the tipping point? I mean, bring me to the point where when this clicked.
There was an offer, you know. I think it was. Ayala. Ayala was the first one to give us a commercial space in a mall. This was in Greenbelt, near the church. They had a little kiosk there. So that's when we were like, hey, how come they're, you know, maybe they believe in us already, you know, they've heard of us, you know. So we were kind of flattered that Ayala gave us. But it was a very small kiosk, so we went into that. We still didn't want to get into the mall. No. I think the tipping point of entering the mall was with Shangri-La Plaza, because Shangri-La Plaza offered us a space in the food court.
There you go.
So, and then again, so when we entered that, we didn't have much money yet, you know? So you had to pay for a security deposit, you had to construct. So, you know, we had to, what we did
COD
was,
again?
well, no more COD.
No more COD.
But I drew up the plans myself, you know, and then we did the painting ourselves, you know, and we saved a lot on construction. And then the old tenant, you know, we just bought their equipment and paid them, like gave them a post-dated check. So we made it all fit in again. Yeah, so I learned a lot from that experience also, and that's when we started entering the malls.
So we've looked a little bit at the early years, what happened, what shaped the man, Rommel Juan. We're now gonna return with the story of what is now happening in the business and the learnings he's had. Stay tuned, you're watching On the Money.
After being able to set up 6 branches in 2003, Binalot founder and CEO Rommel Tambunting Juan decided it was time to open their doors to franchisers. Now, Binalot has 37 branches all over the Philippines and 1 in Dubai.
Tell me about the back end, handling your finances. Did you already have a family at that time when the delivery was shifting to the mall operations?
Well, yeah, I was starting a family already. I got married in 2000, so our first baby was in 2001. Well, that time, you know, because after graduation, I lived in a condo. You know? But when I got married, we wanted to move into a house, but we couldn't afford a house. So I told my wife, you know, let's set up a preschool like my mom. So we got a franchise from my mom. And then we lived on the second
So
floor.
you lived with the business to save on overhead.
To save on overhead.
Did you have the problem of commingling funds? Like, this is money for the business, this is the money for my family. Did you have a delineation, or did you have to dabble?
Well, that was accounting 101. You know, you really have to separate. And then I learned that. No? So we really separated the money of the business with our personal finances. So
from the start.
From the start.
Oh, good for you.
So in terms of investing, we'd always reinvest in the business.
No other investments.
No.
It's really just Binalot at that time.
We're always focused on the business.
Okay. Any regrets looking back?
No. We tried getting into other businesses. You know, we got into a bag business. I set up a pet shop before. You know, things like that. But you know, you learn through the years. You go back to your core. You know, you have to go back to what you're good at.
When you said that you put in the money back into the businesses, right? So there was 2 at that time. It never crossed your mind to try other investments, like, why don't I invest in real estate? You know, because many businessmen who will have the cash might think real estate or the stock market or bonds or preferred shares or even longer time deposits. Those never cross your mind?
No.
Why?
Well, I never really got into it, you know.
Because
I focused more really on the business. I guess, you know, the inclination to look at stocks and things. I have some, you know, but not a lot. No? And with real estate, yeah, it's our other businesses that are like for the manufacturing concerns. Yeah, we're now investing in real estate because there's a manufacturing resurgence in the country right now, so we're doing that. So, you know, I also sit in the board of our other family businesses, and yeah, that's where we look at the other investments.
I see. Okay, and the reason why you did it is you really realized that maybe getting or putting money into the business was a better return for you?
For me, I think it's more controllable because I know the dynamics of everything. You know, it'll really be up to me. You know, if it's gonna grow or not. So with Binalot, we're happy now because we're even expanding our commissary.
In 2006, Typhoon Milenio hit the country. Binalot's supply of banana leaves was destroyed. For a time, the company had to get leaves from Iloilo. Eventually, Binalot saw this as an opportunity to create a sustainable and responsible program. They now source their banana leaves from a community of farmers who they have helped set up their farms and even opened up bank accounts for them. With the farmers' partnership with Binalot, the community now has a steady income source, and Binalot no longer worries about the quality and quantity of their leaves.
Looking back, what would you say is the biggest challenge you had to hurdle?
Managing people really is the hardest thing. You know, it's the most challenging thing to handle, especially the talented ones. You know, because you would have to find out what motivates them. And you know, to me, it's always the character that I look for. You know, it's not really the technical skill. I've learned through the years that the technical skills and knowledge can be taught, but character and attitude is innate. So that's the first thing that I look for. Creating a good team, the dynamics of the team is hard. You know, so you really have to find people with the same passion, you know, and the people who can work together effectively towards a common goal. So I guess I'm happy that we're enjoying that now. We have that now. We have a very strong team with Binalot. Even our franchisees are happy because they're given the proper support.
And training. No?
And training.
What about money mistakes? Biggest money mistake that Rommel Juan has committed?
When we were growing, banks were really aggressively pursuing us, you know, and they were giving us clean loans and things like that. There was a time that, you know, we just took advantage and, okay, let's get a loan, let's set up a big, let's set up nice stores, big stores, and things like that. And yeah, it ended up not being successful, you know. So I guess now, even if the funding is available, you really have to study.
More discerning.
Yeah, you have to be more discerning. And even now, like the locations that are presented to us, it really has to go through a lot of screening before, you know, because you have to study the traffic, the foot traffic, the market around it, you know, if it's really going to hit your target sales. But that's the thing also. Sometimes with success, I guess when you're successful and it's growing, it's harder to see these mistakes. No? But like I appreciate mistakes because you learn from it. You know? So, and it has to hurt. You know, if it hurts, you remember it.
Let's look at the future now, Rommel. Tell me about the vision you have. The vision you have for Binalot as an organization, as a company moving forward. What do you see?
Well, of course, we really want to saturate the Philippines, you know. So now we have branches in Davao, in Iloilo. So we're in Vismin now. But there are still a lot of locations in Metro Manila that we haven't entered. No? So we're looking for more partners, partner franchisees. I've learned that the secret to franchising is really a hands-on franchisee. You know, and we're lucky that we have so many now. No? But once we find more, and you know, we can expand around the Philippines more, and eventually I'd like to have more foreign branches. You know, so we'd like to saturate the Middle East and maybe nearby countries where we have a lot of Filipinos, like Singapore, you know, maybe Hong Kong.
And as far as your family and their finances, what does the future look like?
For my siblings and I, we actually we set up a family constitution already. So I plan to be guided by that also with my family.
Where'd you get the idea? Family constitution?
Other family businesses, other friends who have family businesses. I think it really helps also, so that to avoid conflict from the start. So with my family, not much. They're pretty young, but of course, what we try to do is like just set aside money for the future.
Okay. Final advice for our viewers from the experience you have so far as a father, husband, and as a successful entrepreneur.
I learned that, you know, start small. Just go for it. Because don't be afraid of making mistakes, because as long as you learn from those mistakes. But start with something you're willing to lose. So you can chalk it up to experience anyway. So I always tell young people, start as early as possible, so that you don't, you can always bounce back. But I would say a business is like a rubber ball. If it falls, it can bounce back. But with family, you take care of your family more, because that's like a crystal ball. If it falls, it breaks. Hard to put it back.
And that's our show today. Join us again next time as we sit down with some of the influential and inspiring personalities of our time and listen to their stories of how they turned challenges into triumphs. I'm Edric Mendoza. Thank you for watching.